Visakha Puja Day, the birth of our Lord Buddha. The flawless moon, during the full moon night, it's brighter than any star in the sky. In the same manner, the Lord Buddha's birth, it's more glorious than the birth of any being. The appearance of the Lord Buddha brings a great wealth of merit to all living beings. The Lord Buddha removes our suffering and leads us to eternal happiness. In the same way that the full moon removes darkness from the night and lights up the dark sky. Exactly 20 asankhya's, or incalculable eons, and 100,000 mahakapas, or great eons ago, our great Bodhisattva commenced the pursuit of his perfection. The amount of blood he had sacrificed throughout his countless lifetimes was greater than the water in the 4 great oceans. The amount of flesh he had sacrificed was greater than the land masses. The number of skulls he had sacrificed would pile higher than the great Mount Sumeru. The number of eyes he had sacrificed was greater than the stars in the sky. He had willingly performed them all for the sake of attaining enlightenment. After all 3 levels of the 10 perfections had been accumulated to the fullest extent, our Bodhisattva was reborn in the Tusita realm. As King Santusita, the sovereign of the Tusita realm. When the auspicious moment arrived, celestial beings from 10,000 universes came together to beseech him to be reborn in the human realm. Once the request was made, our great Bodhisattva considered the 5 important factors. The first factor was the average human lifespan at that time. Every Lord Buddha only appears on earth at the time when the average human lifespan is between 100 to 100,000 years. When the average lifespan exceeds 100,000 years, the issues of birth, aging, and death become irrelevant. It is easy to live life recklessly then, and the Lord Buddha's teaching about the 3 characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and the absence of self will go unheeded. But when the average lifespan is below 100 years, the mind is thick with defilements, the earth environment is hostile, and people must spend all of their time toiling for a living and fending for themselves. Next, he considered the 4 human worlds, which included Pupa Viteha, Uttara Guru, Apara Goyan, and Chompu. Our Bodhisattva saw that every Buddha only appeared in the Chompu world. Next, he considered the country of his birth, which is now India and Nepal. He chose a royal birth, since it was considered to be the noblest at that time. He found the lady who would be suitable to be his birth mother in the person of Queen Sili Mahamaya, because she had pursued perfections for the purpose of giving birth to the Buddha for the past 100,000 kappas. Once the 5 factors were in place, our Bodhisattva agreed to the request, and the wife of King Suttodana Of Kapilavastu kingdom, Queen Sili Mahamaya became pregnant. On the full moon day of the 8th lunar month, the queen gave alms and observed the 8 precepts, as was her normal practice. She went to sleep that night, but at dawn the next morning, she dreamt that the 4 kings of the Jatu Maharajika realm came together to bring her, along with her bed, to the celestial forest of Himavanta. The bed was placed on a great stone slab beneath the Dipterocarpacea tree. Female celestial beings took her to bathe in the celestial lake of Anodat and apply scented powders on her skin and adorn her body with celestial flowers. Afterwards, they took her to the bedchamber in a gold celestial mansion situated on top of a silver mountain. While she was in bed, a great white elephant came down from the gold mountain to see her. He carried in his trunk white, gloriously fragrant lotuses and circumambulated her 3 times. And it appeared as though afterward he entered the right side of her abdomen. While the queen was having this dream, our great Bodhisattva ceased to be in the Tusita realm, and the queen became pregnant. At that moment, there was a loud rumble, and the ground quaked. Brightness pervaded everywhere, together with the occurrence of 32 supernormal events in 10,000 universes. Since the instant our Bodhisattva was conceived, he was comfortable in the womb and did not feel cramped in any way. The queen felt comfortable and light, as though she was not pregnant at all. She could clearly see our Bodhisattva sitting in a half lotus position inside her womb. When the queen was 10 months pregnant, she wanted to return to her homeland, which was the city of Dewataha. In the morning of Visakha Puranami, the queen traveled in a gold palanquin out of the city, surrounded by her retinue. The royal procession kept moving until it reached the beautiful Lumbini Grove. The queen wished to have a rest and to walk around the royal park. The ministers prepared a place for her beneath the shady sala tree. As she was enjoying herself, she raised her hand to touch a sala branch, and it lowered itself down to her so she could hold it. Suddenly, she felt the birth pangs. The officials hurried to prepare the area and put up curtains all around it. Close to noontime, the queen gave birth to a male infant who possessed all 32 physical characteristics of the perfect man. As the perfect man was being born, before his feet touched the ground, the 4 Brahma kings from the 4 Sutavas realms used a celestial gold net to receive him. Channels of warm and cool water from the air bathed the queen and the great Bodhisattva. Then the 4 kings of the Jatu Maharajika realm received the perfect man from the Brahma kings and gave him to the human nannies. Our great Bodhisattva stood up, and his feet were on the ground. He looked all around him and could not find any other person that possessed as much merit as he did. So he turned towards the north. He then took 7 steps, and each step was miraculously cushioned by a lotus blossom. He said in a resounding voice, a voice as pleasing to the ears as the voice of the Brahma king, I am the Supreme Being. I am the most advanced being in the world. I am the most sublime being in the world. This is my final rebirth. We must bear in mind that the appearance of the perfect man is an extremely rare occurrence. Within one kappa, there can appear, at the most, only 5 perfect men. Therefore, on Visakha Puja Day, the universally important day, let's come together to remind ourselves of the greatest debt of gratitude we owe to the Lord Buddha by being dressed in white, and come to the temple to give alms, observe the precepts, practice meditation, and offer them as a token of our reverence to the Lord Buddha for our own and our family's prosperity.